take? Can I be your superhero? Superhero. Can I be your superhero? Superhero. 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 Fly away. It's the first time of today. Today. To dream, believe. You are the strength, you're all I need. Oh, gonna give it a shot. Only one of me to shield you all from the enemy. You're a superhero. You're a superhero. Can I be your superhero? Superhero. 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 Can I be your superhero? chase my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3x3.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Tuesday Night Thunder Season 4, Week 10 at Talladega Superspeedway. Drivers getting ready for the action, and so are we. Joining me in the booth tonight, co-host as always, Dawson Wise. Dawson, how you feeling tonight?
I'm doing well, Austin. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of this season. The points battle is going to come down to the bitter end, both for the championship and for the last few playoff spots. I can't wait. Big-time race tonight.
Yeah, and Matthew Baker helped his chances at that regular season championship with a win last week, making it his third of the season, looking for number 4 here tonight. And with that, let's get right down trackside and get into your pre-race ceremonies, starting with your starting order here tonight. Andrew Navarro in the 44 will take the pole, puts down a 54.2, and it'll be the Coke Series driver Garrett Maines rolling off on his outside in second. Jason Maines back in third with Devin Ray for KSR in fourth. Trevor Osmanoff, another one of the KSR guys, back in fifth. John Mullahan in sixth. Matt Lee back in seventh. There's last week's winner, Matthew Baker in eighth. Dustin Carruthers in ninth. And Kenneth Stamper rounding out your top 10.
Another NBG entry starts 11th. That's Jeff Merck. Mark Vondell from McCullough Motorsports in 12th. Row 7 will be Mark Math in the 199 and Mike Davenport in the number 55 for PGR. Row 8, William Schwinenhammer having a silently good season. Stephen Harper in the 27 alongside him in 16th. Row 9, Jared Haynes having a really great year in his rookie campaign. He'll start 17th. Dylan Jones, he'll start from 18th in the 11. And on row 10, how about the return of D3? Daniel Eberhardt, he'll start 19th. And John Ward for Hyper Motorsports, he'll start from 20th.
Nash Brambilla for PGR eSports back in 21st. Logan York to his outside in 22nd. Justin Mills back in 23rd. Brock Westmoreland 24th. And then we move back to row 13. It's two of the McCullough Motorsports drivers. Christopher McCullough in 25th with Ken McCullough Jr. in 26th. David Cheese back in 27th. Tucker McClendon in 28th. And Jimmy Emos rounding out the field here tonight. He will roll off 29th. All right, let's get into your race info here tonight. Race 10 for the Xfinity Series here in Season 4. 60 laps to distance, 40% fuel, unlimited tires as always, with, of course, no fast repair fix setups. And there will be that stage break on lap 20. 2.65 miles the total distance, around one lap here at Talladega Superspeedway. Track temp still a little toasty here tonight. Going to be starting at 107 degrees. 30-plus degree banking in the corners, 82 degrees outside, cloudy skies, winds at 4 miles an hour. Beautiful day for racing. It's going to be a fun one. Here we go. Pace car going to make the left turn down to the pits for the first time here tonight. The field in the hands of Andrew Navarro and Garrett Maines. Garrett currently was sitting second in that championship battle. He needs a good finish here tonight. See if he can get the job done. Green flag in the air. We're racing at Talladega.
And it is Garrett Maines out to an early lead. Down the backstretch, big help out back from the pair of two cars. Devin Ray and John Mullahan in the back of Garrett Maines right now on the outside. Everybody finding their P's and Q's. No 3 wide yet. And everybody's still double file off turn number 4. It's Maines, Navarro side by side. Their help still in line behind them as they come through the tri-oval. Still Maines and Navarro on the front row. Jason Maines there on the bottom side in behind Andrew Navarro. And then Trevor Osmanoff. Really good showing for KSR in qualifying. They're all inside the top 10 as Maines leads lap 1 headed for turn number 1.
Maines leads 1, and he leads them into 1 here on lap number 2. Andrew Navarro on the inside. Jason Maines the lead pusher. Yeah, Devin Ray the lead pusher on the outside. No 3 wide action just yet, at least not for about the first 10 rows. And then as you get towards the back, there is one car out of line. It's the 27 machine of Stephen Harper. Don't think that's a move, though, designed to go forward as he's going to drop just behind the 0-2 here of Logan York. And this group with a little bit of disorganization, at least towards the back half of this pack, they need to make sure that they stay tucked up pretty tight. Can lose that pack in a hurry, but right now it is all Garrett Maines. Got the push to get clear, took the lead, but now it's Navarro jumping back to the outside off of 4.
Yeah, Navarro looks very crisp so far tonight. Great move off turn number 4. Took just enough space up on the bumper of Devin Ray. Devin Ray, the winner of last night's Little Guy Series race from Talladega, but now Navarro leads a lap, says I got the point, and I'm going to the back. Navarro dives to the safer barrier. He'll go all the way back in this field, so looks to be a calculated move. Get a lap led after getting the pole, and now it's going to go to the back and mind his P's and Q's. Kind of play it safe, at least until the stage break. Everybody else, though, kind of needs some points. Devin Ray, John Mullahan, Jason Maines, and especially the man leading the race. That is Garrett Maines. He needs every point he can get tonight. Baker's in his rearview mirror, third on the outside. Garrett, all the pressure on him tonight to get as many points as he can.
Yeah, Navarro has kind of had a bad couple of weeks in terms of getting caught up in a wreck. Definitely a lot earlier than he would have liked to be, and I look back to last week, and I think that gives pretty much every reason that you need of why he did exactly what he did, Dawson, with just getting that lap led and says, hey, there's still, 57 laps to go, a stage break with a guaranteed caution in between, so he knows that there's no money on the line right now. Got the extra point where he could get it. Of course, got the pole, too. If there's an extra point for that, he got that one, so he's comfortable where he's at. Drop to the back, try to keep the car clean, but up front, you mentioned it. Everybody up here is racing for a reason. They need points, and they want to lead every single lap they can. Devin Ray, though, now will take the lead as both of the two cars in the field go side by side. That's Mullihan on the outside, getting a big push now from last week's winner, Matthew Baker. Ooh, they stack up a little bit. That's going to cause some momentum now to go back towards the bottom, and Devin Ray will poke back ahead in turn 3.
Yeah, maybe a slight moment of hesitation for John Mullihan, but not a hesitation for Garrett Maines. He wants to lead back, jumps right back out in front of John Mullihan, and now we'll go elbow to elbow with Devin Ray in the tri-elbow. Ray pushed by Jason Maines, Garrett Maines pushed by John Mullihan. Another lap to the Garrett Maines machine, that time by he'll lead another of these first 4 laps of this race. Good showing so far from Garrett, and he has to have it because, like I said, Matthew Baker is not far behind, lurking. The 3-time winner looking to go for 4. Garrett Maines trying to close that gap in the points. Good push on the bottom. How about Devin Ray, Jason Maines, Trevor Osborne, the KSR teammate, is there, as well as the Atlanta winner, Matt Lee, and Dustin Carruthers making another appearance tonight. Some players up here that really could use the victory. Ray and Maines, elbow to elbow, headed for 3.
And looking at that points gap for Garrett Maines behind Matthew Baker, again, he is still second overall in points, but after last week with Garrett with a little bit of a struggle with all the damage that he sustained in the early wreck, and Matthew Baker, of course, taking the win, he fell to 30 points back. And again, you can make that up pretty quick if the opposite were to happen this week. Baker has a bad night, Garrett has a great night, but you can't necessarily rely on that. You know that Baker's going to be going for consistency here to round out the season, and you mentioned it at the tip of the broadcast, but as we start to get down the final stretch of the season, or the regular season at least, and close things out, it's going to be all about who can execute the best and who's got the most will of the way to try to get themselves a regular season championship. And I think the best part about getting one of those, Dawson, is the idea that you get to go in the playoffs knowing that you've already made money on the season, and at that point, basically playing with house money and seeing just how much you can win.
Yeah, it kind of gives you a little bit less to lose, if you will, when you get to the playoffs, because you've profited already. You win that regular season championship, and then, like you said, it's house money. Anything you win from there is just an added bonus. But the further you go, the more money you make. So obviously, you still want to make that run. And speaking of making a run, Navarro, he went to the back, but not for long. He's coming back to the front. He's got Chris McCullough with him, and they are rolling. They made about 4 rows just in the time I was talking about points. Those 2 cars are even with row 3. They're going to be even with row 2. Chris McCullough doing a whale of a job getting the 44 back to the front. Those 2 cars are here, and they are going to be battling for the lead down the Alabama Gang Super Stretch.
It's not often that you see just 2 cars making progress, but these 2 are locked up, and they are flying down the backstretch, trying to get the 44 clear. Christopher McCullough not quite able to do it, but that push, that's letting Navarro know who he wants to work with later in this race. He's going to have the 94 circled on that list of drivers, and it's not over just yet because here comes some help from the 55 of Mike Davenport. Looks like D3. Daniel Everhart's going to jump up to the top as well. No organization. They'll have to get grouped up a little bit better before this third lane will start to surge again, but I think there's some speed and a case to be made for Navarro to try to get to the lead out there. Now Matthew Baker's going to jump up to the top.
That's not what Garrett Maines wants to see out his rearview mirror. Is the 5 coming up alongside. They'll be 3 wide for the lead by the time they once again hit the back straightaway. And the temps are starting to run out, and now they're fresh underneath Andrew Navarro's car. He will push Matthew Baker all the way to the race lead halfway down the backstretch. Now Mullihan starts to lead the charge in the middle, and they'll cancel them out 3 by 3, make it 4 rows deep as Mike Davenport's joined the party in turn number 3.
Mike Davenport, Little Guy Series champion from last season, looking to see what he can do in this season of Tuesday Night Thunder. We haven't talked completely about the point scenario and how everybody's looking just yet. We'll save that a little bit later, but right now, one thing that I am noticing, Dawson, that I feel like more than what we've seen the last couple weeks is just continuing to be how strong this third lane is. Even as they fade back down to 2 cars, they're still able to hold at least some leeway for the moment. And jumping back out will be Christopher McCullough. I think he jumped down just to conserve a little bit of temp for a minute. And now that he's got it back, he'll jump up. What has Navarro got left, though? And can Baker get clear? If he does, what will he do? Does he go to the middle? Does he go to the bottom? Or does he stay up top? 3 by 3 down the backstretch.
And I'll tell you what, I'm watching these guys. They are fishtailing back and forth. This track is red hot tonight. You can tell that already the tires are starting to wear. These cars are not glued to the racetrack by any means. They are fighting for every last inch of real estate on this racetrack, and that's because the track is so hot at the front. You saw Garrett Maines earlier. I think it was case in point. We're going to have a couple short pit here. Matt Lee dives to pit road. Was he the only one that went? I believe he might have been.
Yeah, well, Justin Mill, a couple others went. Looks like John Ward and Justin Mills are going to join him, but that's certainly a surprising strategy to say the least here. This seems Well, I guess really doesn't seem too early. You figure 50% fuel, about 20 laps, so 40, maybe 16 to 18. We know we're getting a stage break on lap 20, so this is just sort of strategy play, I would assume here, Dawson, that these guys want stage points, and so they're going for it by trying to pit early. They've got at least 3 cars, but they're going to have to run really tight together, and they're going to have to be fast each and every lap to have any chance at beating this front group by enough of a margin to pull away. We'll see how it pans out, and more importantly, we'll see if that brings anybody else down. Garrett Maines fades back up high, and now he's going to take a push from John Mullihan off a turn 4. Devin Ray on the bottom with a push from Jason Maines. Kenneth Stamper, he's getting himself back up into the mix. And about this, Dawson, Tucker McClendon back in 16th. He's already up 12 positions from where he started this race at. Said in the chat, when the race started, it's my flu race. Let's go. So assuming that Tucker, fortunately, not feeling too well tonight, so hate to hear it, but I think Brad Keselowski or somebody did this a couple years ago at Darlington where they didn't feel good, and that was one of their best races ever, something of that degree. So who knows, maybe Tucker McClendon finds victory lane here tonight.
Well, under some rough conditions, but man, flu race is a bold claim. We'll see how Tucker does. Already appears to be pretty quick. He's in the middle, about 6-7 rows deep, back there behind Mark Vondel, and third lane splitting off again. It's Jeff Merck, brand new look aboard Jeff Merck's machine tonight. He brings his teammate Matthew Baker and Andrew Navarro, and again we split 3 wide, 3 by 3, 3 rows deep, and then that gap back to Mark Vondel, Tucker McClendon, and Logan York, who are starting to work their way forward. It's Merck who leads at the line in the 60. He'll get all the way clear. What a push by Matthew Baker, and the 60 goes top to bottom in 1.
That's really what I think they needed to get kind of all these lines start to shake back up, because Garrett Maines, oh man, hold on just a minute. Boy, Jeff Merck, he tried to carry the one up the track without letting him make the move, couldn't quite hold him off. And so Garrett Maines, just as I was getting ready to say, is now going to be the lead pusher. It's going to go right back to being the lead leader, of course, of the race now. Will he get clear? He won't. Jeff Merck still able to hold on the bottom. Matthew Baker up top with Navarro. Looks like Christopher McCullough has committed up there as well now, as nobody else has decided to make a pit yet, and they're still 3 by 3, Dawson. Window opens up here, or I guess I should say window closes, as they'll be about out of fuel, and probably I'd say about 4 to 6 laps from now. So sooner or later, these guys are going to have to start slowly merging down a couple lanes, getting lined up as we go back to the group of 3. Looks like they are tight together in terms of time they're making. None right now. In fact, going in the opposite direction as they're losing a little bit of time to Ken McCullough Jr., the car at the back of this lead group. So I don't think the strategy is going to pan out quite the way that they were hoping it was going to.
I'm not sure what the call was there. I mean, I don't mind the call to short pit, but you need more cars when it's this big a field. You need a little bit more energy in that pack if you're going to make it work. They just did not have enough takers. I guess they figured they'd draw some more of a crowd down pit road, and they just did not do so. So with 8 laps to go on the stage, we're looking at about the next 2 to 3 laps these guys are going to pit. This is fast and furious up front, but they're going to have to start thinking about pit stops. You see guys further back. You see guys starting to mold to the bottom, trying to find spots in line. Those pit stops are coming up. Jeff Merck clears back to the lead. A huge push out front by Garrett Maines. But now Garrett, John Mullihan, Matthew Baker, Andrew Navarro, further back Mark Vondel are pinned. They have to get down. They got to get down quick. We're only about 2 laps short of pit stops.
And they just went by the 67 of Jimmy Emos. So he's going to lose another lap there, as David Sheets, another driver, that a little surprised, but some trouble early. Must have been some sort of technical issue that's caught him being trapped 4 laps down. So he's going to need some cautions. He's going to need him in a hurry. Jimmy Emos being 2 laps down is certainly not helping the case for the 06 either. But still 2 by 2 up front. You mentioned the 3 wide completely disintegrated as of now. And so now it's just going to be a matter of how quickly do they get down to that single file line. Might see a couple guys try to pit from the outside. We've seen it before. It's doable, but it's certainly not the preferred way to try to make it down to the pits. And a lot of times that's where you see an incident occur. But right now, Jeff Merck leading the bottom. Garrett Maines up top. Mullihan and Ray in row 2. Jason Maines and Matthew Baker in row number 3. Navarro still up here in the mix. Trevor Osmanoff, by the way, the last driver that we have carrying it on board for us here tonight. He's got himself in a pretty good spot, running just in front of about halfway through this pack, in front of his teammate, Dustin Carruthers, and behind the captain of KSR, Kenneth Stamper. Meanwhile, on the outside, Dawson, we talked about pit stops soon. This is a classic Daniel Eberhard strategy. Well, it looked like it was going to be for a minute, where he waits until they get towards the end. Oh, well, hold your breath. Pit stop's underway here.
Oh, man, Logan York's really hot on entry. He's got to get it low down. He does. Further back, oh, man, Chris McCullough goes almost off the speedway. He might have gone off the pit road. Perhaps a penalty. We'll keep an eye on the 94 as he gets into his box. This is a big group. Maines, Merck, Ray, Oswanoth, Carruthers, Schwindenhammer, Matz, Stamper, Haynes, Harper, York, Chris McCullough, and Kenny McCullough all in pit road. This time by it's a half-and-half split. That allowed Matthew Baker, Andrew Navarro, and a couple of others to get down. It's going to work out nicely. But some teams split up. Let's see what happens here on this cycle. Down the back, Eberhardt's looking for more as they hit turn number 3.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say the classic Daniel Eberhardt strategy. He likes to save a bit of fuel at the start, and it works out great if we make it towards green flag pit stop because he gets with somebody that he knows pretty well, Dylan Jones in this case, and they go to the front on that last lap or two before pit stops. And look at this. They're going to pit from the top here. Oh, Eberhardt's sailing it in. Is he going to get in? There's no way he got down to speed. There's no way he came flying in there.
Way too quick.
And so looking to see here if it's going to be a penalty for D3. We'll confirm in just a moment. But everybody else looks like got in pretty clean. And that's sometimes what
it
you
was
worry
a penalty for Chris McCullough. I just wanted to update that. He's still sitting on pit road. So it was an unsafe pit entrance penalty for Chris McCullough in 94.
And going to tack onto that with a penalty for Daniel Eberhardt. Too fast entering for the 90. I'm not sure what the exact penalty was for the 94, if it was for unsafe entrance or too fast entering, but nonetheless, point being that Christopher McCullough lost almost a lap in terms of the time he had to sit in. Fortunately for Eberhard, it looks like he could potentially be in the same boat here, Dawson. Now, only a couple laps until the stage, and so now we'll turn our attention back up front to see how this lead pack is going to form up. As here comes that group being led by Garrett Maines, Jeff Merck, roaring off of turn number 2 as they race down the back to get ahead of these guys. It looks like they're going to do that, but man, they are organized. And I'll tell you what, Dawson, we see this before. Garrett Maines and company that all just went by, they are going to be sitting ducks here. They're going to have to make an aggressive move. If we're going to see a wreck, I think it's going to happen when Andrew Navarro catches this group here and goes 3 wide.
Yeah, but Garrett's got to start playing some defense. We'll see how far he's willing to go because he needs these stage points, and Baker's not far behind. He's going to have to get a little bit more aggressive than he might like to at this point in the race, but that's what it's going to take. Navarro steps middle. He steps all the way to the top. It's tandem racing here at the front. 2 by 2 by 2. Jason Maines joins the party, and all alone on the bottom now is Jeff Merkula, Dylan Jones with the head of steam, and they are all up on each other. We're going to have to squeeze it 4 wide around Chris McCullough, but everybody makes it work. Plenty of room, and we're right back to racing. Navarro to the lead halfway down the backstretch.
And Garrett realizes he's not going to be able to hold off for 44 any longer. Yes, he will, because Navarro gets loose as as Maines jumps down. He gets a push from Jeff Merck. Oh man, they had Navarro all but clear. He wiggled just a little bit. Not sure if it was the push or what the deal was, but man, you said Garrett needed to play good defense. He did just that. I thought for sure he would have lost the lead out of that sequence, but instead he holds on, and now he's in front of a car with still relatively fresh temps in Jeff Merck, but we'll see if he decides to jump to the top. 2 laps to go in stage 1.
Big hit there in the middle. They're going to push 3 or 4 deep in line. Garrett Maines says, I'm going right back down to the bottom. Did not like that at all. That was a risky decision to jump up in front of that middle lane. But it worked, but for how long? Oh! Maines throws a block. Trevor Osmanoff's off the racetrack. He's on the apron. We keep it green. Dylan Jones pushing Garrett Maines. Jeff Merck pushed by Devin Ray, but watch out. Here comes the 3-time winner, Matthew Baker, against the safer barrier. 3 by 3. 3 rows deep in 3.
Can he get clear? Oh, Navarro's pushing him with all he's got. They start to check up. Not going to happen this time. Man, oh man, Jeff Merck was having none of the blocking that Garrett was trying to have happen right there. At least off of turn 2 that last time. What a save by everybody, as now they are going to be 3 by 3 as we will cross the stripe. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go on the stage.
Oh, Dylan Jones has to dive off the racetrack. He's going to get out from behind Garrett Maines. Almost some trouble on the 11, and now it's only 2 cars on the bottom side. 3 cars in the middle, 4 cars up top against the safer barrier. Look at the side draft. Jeff Merck all over the door of the 1. He'll lead down the back, but for how long? They're bouncing off each other all over the place as they head back to 3. Baker's only got 1 car of help. Jeff Merck, now the help comes back to the bottom. It's going to be a drag race all the way home.
Oh, Devin Ray, he might have ran out of temps here. Starts to fade now in the middle. That allows Baker to draw even. Meanwhile, the bottom surges ahead by 2, 3 car lengths now. Brambilla's going to get clear. Does he think about jumping up? No, Jason Maines will make the move. Garrett looks for a block. Nothing's there. And now Jeff Merck has a choice. Jason looking for a side draft. Nothing doing there. Brambilla will stay loyal. Garrett jumps up. No run. Garrett Maines wins stage 1.
And And I'll tell you, he needed that for two reasons. Number one, he needed the stage points, and number two, look who didn't get any. Matthew Baker comes up empty in stage number one. Garrett Maines, that's a big swing for him, and exactly the start that he needed.
Absolutely, and boy, did a phenomenal job controlling the lanes there at the end, and he almost got turned around just a couple laps prior with Jeff Merck trying to make a move, but instead ends up being a good finish for Garrett Maines as he gets those stage points. And now, of course, he'll also have the track position, presumably, unless anybody tried some sort of strategy. We'll have to find out on that. But everybody going to bring it around, take it to the pits, fill it up with fuel, and we will get ready for our 40-lap final stage here at Talladega. Going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. See if we can maybe get an interview as well with Garrett Maines, Stage 1 winner. Stick with us.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. 3 by 3. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it at the line? Cody Nagels wins it at Talladega.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway, race 10 in season 4 for Tuesday Night Thunder. Garrett Maines, your stage 1 winner. Unfortunately, though, he is not in one of the Discord channels for RMR. So we are going to go to the man who I believe got second place. Point is, he got a podium, and he's been having a great night so far in the stage, and that is Nash Brambilla for PGR eSports. Let's see if we can get a quick word with him here. Hey, Nash, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I got you.
Well, a good stage 1 result, and it looked like out of everybody that was trying to go to the front the aggressive way, you did it the opposite, the patient way, just slowly worked your way up as everybody else kept jumping out of line. Seemed like it worked out pretty well. How are you going to carry the momentum that you got there from stage 1 here to the rest of the race?
Yeah, me and Davenport and even Brock, we're just playing it safe here. Me and Davenport are on the bubble, the playoffs, so we're really looking at points. So we were just being patient, and all of a sudden found a way to get some stage points there and got second somehow, so that was pretty good for us.
Well, points are certainly a big factor, but, we know with the format, the way it works this season, saw it last season too, as long as you make the race criteria in terms of if you make the amount of races needed and you get a win in one of them, you're automatically locked in. So if you get a win here tonight at a race as any points questions, how does that kind of weigh into the equation? How does that kind of change the aggression level at the end? Do you just try to keep the car clean and keep points, or do you go all out for the win if you're in position?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have the same mindset of just keeping the car safe. But if we're coming off 4 and I have a chance to win, that's going to change, and it's going to become gotta go for it then. Because I mean, like you said, the win and you're in. So really gotta focus on that win coming out of 4. But other than that, you just gotta finish the race. I mean, we just gotta make the playoffs. That's the most important part.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing a good job so far here tonight. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yep, have a good broadcast.
All right, that's Nash Brambilla. There you go, Dawson. It's a tough choice for me as a driver. I know the Little Guys Series, which of course I've raced in a couple times, has a similar format in terms of, or it has at least in a couple seasons with, the winning you're in. And I feel like each week the mindset changes. You go from, let me just have a good points night, every race and I'll be good to go. Then you have a bad points night. Next week you're saying, I'll just go for the win. I don't have to worry about it. So it's a tough choice to make as a driver.
Well, especially when you're in a position like Nash, like Davenport, like Mark Vondel, like William Schwindenhammer, those guys, you have to look at points. But at the end of the day, if you're in the position where Nash is at right now, you got to at least consider that, hey, if I get this win, I don't have to worry about anything the next 2 weeks. I'm locked in. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So it's a chess game. Obviously going for the win risks your car a little bit more, but big time decision making here from Nash Brambilla, but he'd be smart to just go for it. He can kind of make his job easy the rest of the way.
Certainly can. All right, it's going to be officially 36 laps to go when we take the green flag right here. How about this? Mark Math, Ken McCullough Jr., Vondel, Brambilla, and Maines. A little bit of shakeup in the top 3. Green flag back in the air. And we are back racing at Talladega. Ooh, Navarro with a stack up on the inside about 5 rows back, and that is really going to hurt all their momentum, as it looks like Devin Ray, John Ward, maybe a couple others are going to be able to jump to the inside before they even get to turn number 1. Meanwhile, up front, 2x2, Mark Math leading on the inside. Ken McCullough Jr. now going to get a bit of a push from Nash Brambilla. Watch for the outside to get locked up and surge here down the backstretch. Nothing doing just yet. There they go, Ken McCullough Jr. He's got a tandem now from Nash Brambilla, trying to get the 03 completely clear before they get to 3. Not going to do it. Yes, he does.
Yeah, big push there from the outside and outs. The 3 PGR teammates all line up nose to tail. How did they figure this out? Brambilla, Westmoreland, and Davenport all 3 lined up. Now they're going to be 3 wide. John Ward up on the outside. The 92 brings the 30 with him. That's Kenny Stamper. William Schwindenhammer lurking, and so too is Garrett Maines. Contact. Davenport, Vondel come together. Vondel, big save there. 3x3 headed back for the banking in one as Nash Brambilla leads that time by.
And remember, the fuel window is about 16 to 18 laps, so from when we went back green, expecting that next stop, maybe somewhere around lap 40, I'd say maybe right around 41, 42, maybe stretching it. It depends a little bit from there. Point is, this could be mighty close, similar to what we saw last week, Dawson, in terms of how the fuel strategy pans out. So we'll see who's saving here early. Right now, I can tell you who's not saving, and that is the PGR eSports teammates. You talked about them still lined up, 1, 2, 3 on that outside, or the middle lane rather, but now it's John Ward, the Hyper Motorsports captain, trying to get something working up top. He's got help from 2 of the KSR guys, Kenneth Stamper and Dustin Carruthers. 2x2 though, up front for the first 2 rows is Ken McCullough Jr. looking to get the lap led, but it will go to Brambilla. Everybody still fighting for position as they climb the banking into turn 1.
They're still trying to get that 3rd lane rolling. I think they just need 1 or 2 more cars. Now they're very tightly locked together up there. Tightest of any line, and now John Mullihan's going to come to the rescue as well. Oh, more contact. Mark Matt's on the apron now. In the 199, he'll have to bail, and the 3rd line's come on strong. John Ward to the point, headed for 3, and it's 3 wide, 4 rows deep. Mark Matt still can't get on track, and maybe some problems back there further around Andrew Navarro. Man, Mark Matt, that did not benefit him at all, and now Brambilla's going to use that to his advantage. He goes back to the lead on the bottom side off turn number 4, 6 rows deep of 3 wide.
This is what we were kind of waiting on. It was a question of when it would happen, and we saw kind of a little bit of a warm-up to it in that first stage, and now that we're kind of in the bulk of this race, there's still over a handful of laps before we're going to be talking about that next green flag pit stop. Everybody decided it was time to see how their cars handle in the full energy of this pack, which is when they're spread out like this 3x3, bumper to bumper. And so far, it's been shown that outside they can roll, but fading a little bit here as I think Stamper ran out of temps, trying to find a way to cool him down a little bit. That allows Brock Westmoreland and Mike Davenport to resurge in the middle as Nasprabilla leads the bottom. Garrett Maines, if he gets clear, you maybe wonder if that one car will jump up. Not going to be able to because the 55 of Mike Davenport beats him to the punch, and he will now go to the lead on the third lane.
And that was a really nice move by Mike Davenport, really well timed, and it's going to get him all the way to the point. Now, will it get him flip-flop with his teammate? It's going to be close. Down here in the 1, Ward's got to hang with him just a second longer, and Westmoreland's going to open the lane. Davenport's clear. He's going to give it as long as he can to let the run come back. Now he goes middle. Ward keeps him up top. Davenport was too slow to the punch. Ward to the middle. Westmoreland to the bottom, and Davenport is trapped now in front of Kenny Stamper, and some hesitation on the part of the 55 as he tried to bring John Ward with him.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Ward was pushing as hard as he physically could. He might have been at the point where he was going to blow up and might have been screaming at Mike Davenport, do not go down. I got to go down, or I'm going to blow the engine here. And so a nice move by both drivers. Of course, Ward got Davenport out in front, then made the move himself. And now that'll get Jeff Merck clear as he's going to be the man to jump to the third now. Garrett Maines loses help for just a moment as he awaits a push from William Schwindenhammer. Where did William come from? Man, started maybe a little bit further back than we were expecting here tonight, and he's already up 7 from where he started this race at. Seems like week in and week out here, Dawson, the 17 shows his presence when it matters most, and he's coming to the front here as we've completed halfway in this race.
Well, he did the same thing that Nasprabilla did. He kind of just waited patiently as Mike Davenport got up, Jeff Merck got up, guys got out of the way, and he just kind of filled the gaps. When they moved up, he said, I'll take that, thank you very much, I'll take the real estate. Now he's just kind of worked his way up into that position just by kind of holding his line, not really doing anything, minding his car, keeping himself safe, not making any desperation moves, and now he's lead pusher. He's going to be third in line, I think, when John Ward jumps up right here off turn number 4, but he'll still be in a really good spot, and that's a wild card driver. He is the cut line driver coming into tonight's race, a serious wild card. If he goes to victory lane, it shakes the playoff picture up entirely, so watch out for the 17 as he's inside the top 5.
And meanwhile, on the outside, there is nothing left except Mike Davenport, and he is lonely right now. No help to be found anywhere in sight. And so he'll fade back till he finds a gap, potentially here just behind Dustin Carruthers. And nope, looks like he's going to stay committed to the outside, at least for now, but he doesn't have any help, so he's not going to be able to really go anywhere for the moment. Now, you talked about William Schwindenhammer and where he runs currently in terms of that cut line. And let's talk a little bit more about that here just briefly, how everybody's currently set up and what the points are looking like. So you got Matthew Baker leading in points. Again, got the win last week. Garrett Maines second, Logan York in third. Christopher McCullough fourth in the points. Jeff Merck rounding out the top 5. Michael Triscaro back in 6th, but he did not make tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how that drops him in points. Jason Maines back in 7th. Trevor Ozanoff 8th. Brock Westmoreland 9th. And Jared Haynes, another driver who did not make it out here tonight. He rounds out your top 10. He's tied with Ken McCullough Jr. for that 10th spot. J.R. Miller back in 12th. Andrew Navarro in 13th. Nasprabilla in 14th. Mike Davenport 15th. And the last man currently inside the cut line to be making it to the the first round of the playoffs is Mark Vondell. William Schwindenhammer gained 4 spots over the course of last race, but is still 1 spot short of being in the first round of the playoffs. As it stands now, David Sheets, he is in at 17th, tied with Schwindenhammer, another driver close, and then Matt Lee, maybe down a couple more points than you'd like to see, but I mean, I'm looking at a couple names here, Dawson, Matt Lee, John Mullahan, Tucker McClendon, and these are names that you hear and you say, well, they could get a win here pretty much any time. Even further down, Dylan Jones. And so it's just, with the win and you're in format, you can never get too comfortable unless you're in probably the top 5, maybe top 10 points as a driver. So it's going to be a fight all the way to the finish here.
Well, yeah, I'd say even less than 10 because we got 6 guys that are locked in as of tonight. So, I mean, Matthew Baker, Garrett Maines, Logan York, Jeff Merck, J.R. Miller, Matt Lee are in. If the season ended tonight, those 6 are in on virtue of wins. So it's even less than 10, I'd say. It's almost, 8, 9 guys that are safe from there on. If you look at the playoff points, I mean, it's one race, one bad race the next couple weeks, and you could find yourself on the wrong side of the cut line. And these kinds of races where so much is unpredictable, man, that is a tough spot to be in if you're one of those guys down around the cut line. I mean, Nasprabilla, Mike Davenport, Mark Vondell, Schwindenhammer, Sheets, those guys, I mean, you are one slight mistake away from altering your season, but also one good finish away from putting yourself well inside the cut. So it's a tight balance, but for guys that are close to that cut line, you can see they're starting a little bit desperate as we get to the end of the season. Guys like Brambilla and Schwindenhammer and others, they're running up front when it counts.
And with, let's talk about how close it's coming down. We look ahead at the schedule, and there's only one more race after tonight before the playoffs, and that is Talladega next week. That will be the regular season finale. And then for the round of 16, we are going to go back to Talladega, and then followed by Daytona. The round of 8, round 2, if you will, is going to be Daytona, followed by Talladega. No race on July 2nd, and then the championship event making a return to Talladega for the 4th season in a row tonight. Or excuse me, not tonight. I meant to say on July 9th. And that will, of course, be determined, that will determine who takes home the biggest spot of the season in that championship race, along with, of course, the regular season champion. Looking forward to that one. 35 laps now complete, 2 by 2. As Jeff Merck leads the bottom, Garrett Maines up top, Schwindenhammer Ward in row number 2. Seen a lot of different guys here trying 3 wide. Looks like right now it's Daniel Eberhardt. Christopher McCullough taking a couple peeks, but is yet to commit. And I think commit's really been the reason that third lane has not made any more progress, Dawson, is a lot of people look like they want to lead it, but haven't seen as many people being ready to necessarily be the lead pusher. And now Eberhardt's going to drop back in right in front of Christopher McCullough.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys, it kind of goes back to that conversation of these guys all want good runs for different reasons. Garrett Maines, he needs a good run tonight to make up ground on Matthew Baker. Jeff Merck would like to just keep up his momentum. John Ward, he could use a good run tonight. William Schwindenhammer is close to the point, so is Sean Mullahan. And a couple of other guys up here as well are very close to that cut line in points. They're all very desperate to get out front and get track position and get to where you can control the flow of the race. That's the entire point of wanting to run out front, is you want to control the flow, and that's exactly what some of these guys up here want to do, but not everybody can do it at once. That's why you're seeing so much jostling. Matthew Baker topside, Daniel Eberhardt coming with him, and I know what that typically means. That means we're close to pit stops. When those two start to move up towards the front, that means pit stops are imminent, and right on cue, here comes the McCullough group.
Looks like it's going to be at least Ken McCullough Jr., Mark Von Dell. That's it. No other takers as Von Dell got in really hot. I don't know if he made it down to pit speed. And that's bad news, Dawson. We saw even 3 cars, not enough earlier, much less 2, which is what they've got right here. So if you're Ken McCullough Jr. here, or Mark Von Dell, if he doesn't have a penalty, that is, you need to get in and out of the pits here ASAP. And you got to hope that everybody pits pretty much next lap, I would say. If they don't, going to be in a lot of trouble here. But looking at the fuel window, we thought they could make it close to maybe 18 laps to go. So with still 6 in the tank, I'm just not sure how many guys you'll see pit, as now Schwindenhammer finds himself out front on the outside with one of the most aggressive pushers in the game out back. That's Daniel Eberhardt. What will Eberhardt do is, here we go, second round of pit stops underway. Looks like it's going to be John Mullahan and a couple of others here. Can they get a pretty good stop? Looks like John Ward, actually, I thought it was a couple others. It was not. It was just John Ward. What's going on here with all the single car pit stops?
I'm not sure. I mean, several guys in the field don't have a ton of teammates. That could play into it a little, but even that, I mean, Ward pit when those other guys did on the beginning, on the stage break. So it's so confusing that they would have to pit this much earlier than the rest of the field. So now a question of how far can the leaders go, because that's going to determine how many pit stops there are left. Apparently they can go for a little bit still, because the third line's working. It's Navarro, Baker, Matt Lee in the lap car of Mark Math that are up against the safer barrier. These guys are not racing. Oh man, big move by Daniel Eberhardt. Oh my goodness, that was risky off turn 4. And all of a sudden, we thought they were going to be getting ready for pit stops. It's 6 rows of 3 wide. These guys aren't even close to thinking about pit stops yet.
Yeah, but going back to that move that we just saw from Daniel Eberhardt, if you're a good driver and you can wheel a car, you get to do stuff like that. You can make those kind of moves that, in general, I know I certainly probably couldn't have pulled that off. I mean, with how late he jumped to the outside in the corner, I mean, he got slam drafted from Navarro, and we see a lot of times, Dawson, even just light pushing in the corners with these cars doesn't end well. So for Eberhardt to be able to take a slam draft like that from Navarro, I mean, hats off to Navarro for hitting him square, but that's just a good piece of driving there from Daniel Eberhardt. Timed it up perfect, and by making that block, he got himself right back out in front on the inside, as it's Logan York and Matthew Baker trying to tandem up on the outside. Will they be able to get clear here off of turn 4 as Eberhardt lost all his help? Navarro jumped up. Here we go. A lot more of them going to bring it down. Oh, this is going to be a big pit stop.
Matthew Baker's going to be speeding right here. I don't think the 5.
Oh, my
he goes
goodness.
So does McClendon. Eberhardt may have been speeding again in the 90. Tucker McClendon's around in the back. The 90 and the 5, I believe, are both going to get pit road penalties. We'll wait and see when this first group comes off pit road. I'll update it in a second. But Baker slides off the racetrack. That should be a penalty for our points leader.
Tell you what, speeding's a nice way to put it. He looked like he was probably going about 80 in a school zone right there. Man, oh man, Matthew Baker with just a mistake. He had himself in good position. He really didn't need to force the issue into the pits as he did, but nonetheless, he's going to have to see what he can do now as Garrett Maines, Daniel Eberhardt, the first 2 out of the pits, Christopher McCullough, Jeff Merck, and a plethora of others as back up front. Expect the rest of them to peel off right here, and sure enough, here we go. Logan York's going to lead him off. Navarro doing the same thing as Baker. Dives it in deep. Do the tires have enough? Ooh, I don't know. Everybody else, I think, got in clean. It's going to be close, though, for Navarro.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. He definitely looked way slower than Baker was. I thought Eberhardt was speeding as well. He got out clean, so pardon me on that one. I could have sworn he was speeding. He was going about the same speed as Baker, but we'll see him on Navarro, waiting to see on the 44. He's still sitting there. These guys are all taking tires. They're going to start to roll.
I think he's good. Yeah, you see fire out of the pipes. Yeah, he was ready to go. Man, so he just got in that much better than everybody else, but they worked their way out, and I believe here that everybody in this group is going to be able to merge back with the group that already pitted, at least the guys that got connected, which looks like Garrett Maines, Jeff Merck, Daniel Eberhardt, Christopher McCullough, John Mullahan, and actually I said John Mullahan. Does he actually have a penalty? Yes, he does. He is not on the lead lap, so not for a position for the 2, but can still help out a teammate there, Christopher McCullough, as there is that group of about 6 cars that just pit making their way out. Matt Lee there as well. Talked about him and Dylan Jones being 2 of the drivers that if they get a win, it could kind of flip the points upside down for a couple guys in terms of being locked in by plenty to potentially only being 1 or 2 spots to the good. And so they're going to be 3 by 3 here as they'll be coming up on the lap where I think it's Tucker McClendon. Yes, it is. And him and Ozernoff going in. I think Ozernoff may have gotten a penalty as well. Maybe an unsafe exit or a speeding on exit. As we saw him pit with these guys, but after they go back in, that's just another mistake. And you can see towards the back of this group, looks like Dustin Carruthers and a couple others that were just barely hanging on, held on long enough to now pull a draft, and they should be able to catch up here. That includes Danny Barnes, William Schwindenhammer. It's going to be close for William. Nash Brambilla, though, Brock Westmoreland trying all they can to catch back with the group. Oh, the 94! Come on! Christopher McCullough spins.
He goes off the racetrack.
And he does hit the inside wall. Damage to the left side for Christopher McCullough as we stay green.
That's exactly what the doctor ordered for Schwindenhammer and Brambilla and Westmoreland. They're going to catch the field for sure now.
And we're going to go back and look at this here from the blip cam. Just take one look at it here. 94 is in the middle here to get contact from out back. Talked about his teammate John Mullahan being kind of that support car, just helping these guys out. And oh, there's some netcode there, Dawson. It looks like there's a mix of 2 things. Chris, I think, is slightly drifting up. Yeah, he is. You know, Jeff Merck might be slightly drifting down as well here. In fact, see where they both, well, they come off of 2. Jeff's right sides are just below the white. No, I take that back. Jeff Merck's not really coming down at all. I think Chris is just slightly drifting up, but they're not actually, they don't make contact. And in fact, I don't think they would make contact here, but a little bit of right rear netcode catches Christopher McCullough, gets him into the door of Garrett Maines, and then that sends him down for a spin. I don't know how Navarro manages to miss Christopher, how Logan York checks up to miss Navarro. Lee somehow is able to avoid it all. I mean, that's a phenomenal piece of driving from everybody else as you see Christopher McCullough tag the inside wall. But just a really tough break for the 94, who was having a really good night.
Really tough break. A caution also didn't come out. He was sideways on the racetrack, but the caution flag stays underneath the flag stand, and it's a tough break. Also for Matthew Baker, who would have gotten his lap back right there. Stayed on the lead lap, now. They lap past the 5 car. He'll jump in with the lead draft. Schwindenhammer, Brambilla, Westmoreland. Like I said, I mean, that's exactly what the doctor ordered for them. They're able to hold on to the draft because of that incident, splitting up the lead pack. And they're now only about a half second off the tail end of Matt Lee's car in the back of this line. So they will be back in this race. Will be about 14 cars left to settle this one with still a pit stop left. Again, that early pit stop, that means the window's going to stay open here. We're going to have to make one more. We're already whittled down to 14 cars. So many mistakes on pit road already. got to be in the back of these guys' minds thinking about that last round of pit service coming up in just a few laps.
Yeah, I was going to say the window opens in just a few laps. Question is, when do they pit? And, going back to a quick side note for Matthew Baker, usually when we see somebody go a lap down, like that just goes a lap down in this case, you'd say, okay, well, should be in a lucky dog spot, no harm, no foul, but he's going to be racing Daniel Eberhardt, John Mullahan, and a couple of others here for that lucky dog. And you see Eberhardt's up front, so Baker's going to have to potentially get racy here if he wants to get that spot back, or rather get that lucky dog position. As Garrett Maines jumps to the top, he is going to let Daniel Eberhardt cool down a bit. Isn't racing in fourth position, so why not? Same deal for John Mullahan. In fact, the first two on the inside, neither of those cars are for position. So as Garrett and Merck lead up top, Jason Maines back in third, and then you got Devin Ray, Dylan Jones fourth and fifth as wow. Carruthers slid into a gap that was just barely there, but he's able to get in without any issue, any hiccups, as David Cheeks further back along with Nash Brambilla and Brock Westmoreland. Those two are rounding out your lead pack here with 15 laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Merck and Maines, you're really loving what you're seeing out of these two cars on the inside, kind of being picks, if you will. We see this at other tracks. We don't typically see it here at Talladega, where you have lap cars playing pick between you and the guys behind you. It gives them a little bit more breathing room here at the front to only have to worry about Jason Maines and Dylan Jones and those cars in the middle. So they're loving what they're seeing right now, because they can, again, take a few laps off, just kind of relax here for a minute going into this last pit stop. Well, maybe Garrett can't relax. Daniel Eberhardt's pushing for all he's worth on that bottom line, trying to get his lap back the hard way, and that's what I was going to mention. Eberhardt and Mullahan could both technically get back on the lead lap and be there either when a caution comes out or when something goes awry at the front, and Matthew Baker could still profit. He's got to hope the 90 and the 2 are able to get back in front of Garrett Maines and stay there should a caution flag come out.
Yeah, help me help you kind of situation right now, at least for the 90 and the 2, and then talked about if they can both benefit, then it would also benefit the 5 here. But a lot of good pushing right now from that outside line. In fact, I know I'm probably jinxing it, Dawson, but I'm going to say it. We've seen it a lot here tonight. Just about every push we've seen has been nice and square. Nobody's had any issues. Now, we know that'll change as it gets more aggressive, but the point being that it seems like the cars have been glued to the racetrack. Handling has not been a major issue. In fact, the only incident we've seen besides on pit stops was Christopher McCullough, and that was just some net code. So, seems like the low 100 range, which is what the track temp started out, you can see still sitting at 108. It's kind of the sweet spot for these cars in terms of handling, but still hot enough to get the outside to roll. And it's made for a lot of great racing here tonight. Going to be coming to 12 laps to go next time. So with that, we are going to take a quick break as we get ready for the final round of pit stop. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3. Almost no trouble around Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. To the finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway, getting closer to the end here of race number 10, but we still got a pit stop in store, and boy, we're getting down to crunch time. These guys are going to have to bring it down here for fuel sooner or later. Dawson, when do you see them coming down?
I mean, it's got to be pretty soon here. You'd imagine probably in the next few laps you'd start to see some guys on pit road. This is going to get really dicey. 4 lap cars right in front of the leaders, and they are not going to move. They're going to hold their ground and go to the bottom, and now they're going to split. Oh, this is going to get really dicey here at the front. Can they all get through it? Merck, Eberhardt go middle. There's not going to be enough room. They're going to have to blend here. I think if you're Garrett Maines, you don't try to force this. And Garrett just rides in line. Now he forces it up on Jason Maines' nose. That was really close there. Not a lot of margin for error here at the front now. A lot of traffic here around the leaders. That's not what John Mullahan or Daniel Eberhardt wanted to see.
I'll tell you what, it might be an unpopular opinion. That's okay. I just didn't really like what I saw right there. You know, I'm completely okay with lap cars to a degree, kind of unanimously, the majority rule picking where they're going to go, but this whole split nonsense, it's what leads to wrecks, and I'm glad we didn't have one there. But I was sitting there watching it happen. I thought it was going to happen, and man, I would have been pretty upset if it did. You know, we had great racing all night. To see it potentially almost come to an end right there with lap cars trying to split as the leaders came up, it's kind of silly and no need for it. But nonetheless, we got it clean, got through it, and now it is a race for the lead. Again, still have that pit stop, though. And up front right now, Daniel Eberhardt is not for position. Jeff Merck, though, going to jump to the outside. Oh, Garrett not taking any more of the blocks from the 60. Merck, though, able to somehow hold on as he gets back, cleared down the back, and he does jump back down. We'll see if he decides to make another move here before they get to turn number 3. Not going to do it. Garrett content to stay in line for the moment, as does Jason and Dylan Jones. On the bottom, though, Eberhardt starts to fade. Mike Davenport, pit stops. They've got to be coming up soon here. We're getting close to that fuel level. Oh, there it goes. Merck gets turned around by Garrett Maines.
Oh, more trouble. Davenport, Baker, and others around in the trial. This is going to prompt a caution. They're coming back up on track.
Multiple cars involved. Not sure what the extent of the damage is yet, but we talked about it. Some big names. Matthew Baker, Mike Davenport, Christopher McCullough. That's actually going to help him. But then Jeff Merck, how he fared out of all this. The 60, I think's okay. I don't see any damage yet on that car. Looking around, looks like it's still clean, so that's the good news for Jeff Merck. The bad news is that, of course, he lost all of his positions. So track position will go out the window, but nonetheless, caution with 7 laps to go, first run of the night. And that will take us not quite to overtime, but it is going to eliminate the green flag pit stop. Going to take us to a short sprint to the finish. Let's go back and look at where it all went wrong here a couple times. First one was for Jeff Merck here, which looked like, I thought they were pushing fine here, Dawson. Then all of a sudden, that 60 just jumped right around. So we'll first take a view here from the zoomed in cam, see if we can see an offset push. Well, yeah, you see Garrett, he gets a little bit offset to the left there, and I guess that must have been just enough. I mean, I thought with what we saw tonight that little bit of an offset would be okay. And, you know, I know he probably wasn't necessarily happy with Jeff off of turn 2, but there was no intent there by Garrett. Like I said, it looks relatively square. He does get him a bit offset. I think it's when Garrett goes to recenter, and by being a little bit offset left, it just kind of hooks Jeff, and then Eberhardt tags him as he had absolutely nowhere to go. And then the checkup from that, Dawson, that's what gets, looks like Mike Davenport out of shape. And he's the first car to go sideways. He gets up the track into somebody. I think it's Dylan Jones here. Yes, it is. And then Rex going to be on from there.
And Matthew Baker climbs up the left side of Davenport's car, basically has a tire up on the hood of the 55 all the way through the trial bowl. And now lucky for Tucker McClendon, Nash Brambilla, and these guys coming on from about 15th in line. These guys were able to keep it confined to the bottom 2 lanes of the trial bowl, or that would have been a lot bigger incident than it was. And you're right, it was a checkup. Once Jeff Merck got turned, Eberhardt slammed on the brakes trying to miss him. And it got all the way back to third in line, and it's like we said, I believe it was last week, the further back that checkup goes, the worse it gets. And for Justin Mills, there's just not much you can do when you're third in line. It all happens so fast. He runs in the back of Mike Davenport. No intent, nothing egregious. That's just kind of what happened. Davenport, Baker definitely get the worst of that one. And for two guys that were fighting to get back on the lead lap, that's not at all what they needed right there.
And Everhart, because he got an X2 from that, so that's a tough break for all three. But, you know, looking back at it here, they were lucky that they didn't get anybody else collected when they went back up the track, which, of course, nothing they could do, stuck together. But, man, that was a close call for sure for Brock Westmoreland. And then a couple of guys that just barely were able to shoot around the outside at the last second. As we take one more view of this here from TV1. And there's the mad scramble. Justin Mills lucky to just sneak by on the inside there as well. And multiple others, they're able to jump by at the top of the racetrack as Davenport and Matthew Baker slid back up. So as we go back live, and up front it is Garrett Maines being scored as your leader, Logan York in second, Dylan Jones third with Andrew Navarro in fourth, Jason Maines rounding out your top five, Devin Ray in sixth, Kenneth Stamper back in seventh, Jared Haynes in eighth, Dustin Crothers in ninth, and Brock Westmoreland rounding out your top 10.
Well, we're getting ready for a late race restart. It's kind of interesting. A lot of guys staying on the racetrack here. The problem is they're going to be short on gas, I would assume, since they're going to stay out and try to get the wave around. I mean, I get the call, but at the same time,
you got to make it.
You're going to be short on fuel. I don't know if I would have risked it right there, but I mean, look at all these guys staying out. Everhart, Mills, Ward, Baker, Davenport, McClendon, Vondell, Harper, and Math. I believe are all going to be well short on fuel.
I think the idea, though, is just, you know, and we've seen it before, it's not by any means a bad bet, but we're seeing at least one more caution before this thing's over. And if we get one, you know, maybe the first lap or two, these guys saving a little bit here under caution, then they can, of course, go down and pit once they're back on the lead lap. So I think that's maybe the mindset. I get what you're saying, Dawson, but I think if, you know, you're a driver back there that, especially if you need the win here, you got to go all out for it each and every race, with there only being this one more left. So sometimes gambling can pay off, and certainly a lot of guys that are going to go for it. So we'll see how it pans out for them, and we're going to have our own race up front here. You know, Garrett Maines wants to win one. Not that he necessarily needs to win one to make the playoffs, but with him seeing Matthew Baker getting involved in that last incident, he sees opportunity knocking at the door here, and he knows if he gets a win, it would almost eliminate the deficit from last week, and who knows, maybe even put Garrett in front here, depending on how Matthew Baker finishes, as right now he's being scored back in 18th. He's got a long ways to go and a short time to get there, so it looks like we're going to get a restart here with exactly 4 laps to go.
Garrett really needs this one, and I mean, he's going to have to do the same thing he did at the stage. I said it at the stage break. It's still true now. You got to get desperate if you're Garrett Maines. I know you don't want to, but at the end of the day, you're already locked in. If you get wrecked out of this race, yeah, you might lose the regular season championship. That's true, but you're still locked in the playoffs. You have to do what you have to do here. Expect Garrett to make that thing wide, jump out, try to start blocking, get a little bit more aggressive. Now, the issue is, look at some of the drivers around him. They're not going to put up with that, namely Logan York, Andrew Navarro up on the outside, couple guys further back. Aren't really going to let that slide. We'll see how much Garrett can get away with in this final 4 laps.
And here we go. Pace car going to make the left turn below the yellow line, and then he'll make another left turn down to the pits. And so, got to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. So that means we'd have to go 3 laps around this 2.65 mile joint to make it an official race, and I don't know that's going to happen here with the aggression level we are about to see. Got some guys looking for their first win. Got guys looking to see if they can add yet another win. Green flag back in the air. 4 laps to go at Talladega, and it's a good start for Garrett Maines, but Logan York is going to be able to match him on the outside. Andrew Navarro going to be pushing for all he's worth here through 1 and 2. He's already locked on, as Dylan Jones is also going to get locked on now. Third car in line could be the deciding factor. Jason Maines a little bit closer than Devin Ray is. They drag race off of turn 2. Who gets the momentum? Still a stalemate halfway down the back. Now the outside finally starts to surge a little bit. Navarro pushing York for all he's worth. Is it enough to get him clear of Garrett Maines? The 0-2 of York, yes it is. He'll jump down to the bottom. Meanwhile, further back, 3 wide as Matt Lee looks up top with a push from Jeff Merck.
Mark Lee trying to come forward. That's two of our previous winners. Andrew Navarro, notably, he's down and around the cut line. He has yet to have a win. Trying to defend his championship. He's going to be to the outside of Logan York. He's going to get a look at this one, but can he get the pushing from behind? It's Devin Ray behind him. He's looking for a win. Jared Haynes as well. He's in the picture here with 3 to go. It's Navarro to the right elbow. He'll lead up the banking in one. Several guys really hungry for a win in behind our two leaders.
Merck felt like that third lane was not working with Lee out in front. He cycled low. Now he's going to look back up top. Matt Lee not going to go with him as the 60 trying to jump back down. Schwindenhammer not wanting to cut him a break. Navarro leading the top. York still on the bottom. Garrett Maines really wanting to push that 0-2 clear. You know, if he's able to get both clear, he's going to jump up. Devin Ray, he has been a great pusher all night. What does he have for the end of this thing? Can he set himself up to potentially make a move out of 4 or just on that last lap? Jeff Merck back up top. He's been the man looking 3 wide. Matt Lee going to go with them. This time they're swapped. We'll see if it works any better. They still need one more car, and we are coming to 2 laps to go as they're going to split him 4 wide across the stripe.
Matt Lee did not like Jeff Merck splitting him out and leaving him out to dry, so Matt Lee goes to the wall and goes 4 wide. York back to the race lead. He drops down across Garrett Maines. They're catching the lap car of Eberhardt. They'll have to blend. My goodness, a close moment. Garrett Maines for the race lead off 2. He's to the outside of York. Third line starting to shape up further back. That is the 18 of Brock Westmoreland. A blink out of York up front. Outside is Westmoreland. He's got help from Lee, Mills, and Ward up the outside. They're rolling. Will they get back to the white flag? It's Garrett Maines to the right elbow of Logan York off turn number 4.
I don't know if they're going to make it, Dawson. They're going to be pushing really aggressive right here off of turn 4. Brock Westmoreland, Matt Lee, all bets are going to be off for that top lane once they're able to get even with the front. Maine still leads, though, in the middle. And he is not concerned about the third lane. He won't even try to block it. He's going to stick to try to block the bottom. Navarro goes low. Oh, Maines. How did he make it work? It didn't look like there was any room, but somehow he's able to block. Navarro still leads on the bottom as Westmoreland. Now going to look to see if he can capture his first win as he takes a look up top.
Westmoreland was able to get clear of the push of Matt Lee, but don't roll the 0-4 out. Reckon behind him, doesn't matter. Westmoreland clear to the bottom, great push, but now the bottom line is stacked up. It's Matt Lee that goes to the lead. Now it's Mills and Ward that are going to challenge. This is going to be a drag race. Reckon behind the leaders. All kinds of Reckon going on behind, and the best man in the position is going to be Devin Ray.
They are all out of it for about 5th on back. It's going to come down to Lee, Ray, and Mills. Does Devin Ray make the move to find his first winner? Does he stay as the pusher? Does he look high? Yes, he does. Is it too late? It is. Matt Lee wins it at Talladega. First win of the season. And we talked about it earlier, who could be an upset winner, and it's Matt Lee. He's able to come in and steal one here tonight. And as long as he made the amount of races to meet the threshold, he will lock himself in with that win, and that will put somebody that may have been in on points now out of it.
Man, if you're Devin Ray, waited a little bit too long. I thought he had enough momentum to just take a look there off of 4, maybe anticipating the block. You saw him dive low, so I think he must have been anticipating the move from Matt Lee, trying to wait and make Lee make the first move. It never came. And so missed opportunity there for Devin Ray, but a big win for Matt Lee. He won Atlanta earlier in the season, now adds to it. And the wins tonight at Talladega. And man, the steal it is right. They were not in this race at the white flag. And all of a sudden, that third lane came flying down the backstretch. Lee, Mills, all of those cars up on the outside of the racetrack. What a run for those guys up front.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dawson, part of me actually kind of wonders if maybe Devin waited for that move until he knew they were at a point where if they wrecked, he couldn't lose that spot. I mean, I've certainly been in a similar position, and the only times that I think I've waited about as long as Devin Ray did right there was if I was maybe afraid that I would either get collected in a wreck with the guy or something of that nature, and was like, you know what, let me just make sure that if I get wrecked right now, I can make it to the line without losing this or completely losing a money spot. And as you said, though, just a little bit too late. 7/100ths of a second, the gap between him and Matt Lee. All right, looking at your finishing results. And by the way, before we do, I want to go back one more time. Actually, we'll do that after with Garrett Maines and Navarro. I think Garrett may have made the wrong move by blocking Navarro, not because it was a bad block, just because I think Navarro was kind of out of attempts at that point. But we'll look at that in just a moment. Matt Lee, though, is your race winner here tonight. Devin Ray finishes in 2nd. Justin Mills 3rd. Jeff Merck in 4th. Ken McCullough Jr. back in 5th. Brock Westmoreland 6th with Mark Math in 7th. Andrew Navarro in 8th. Dylan Jones in 9th. And Kenneth Stamper rounding out your top 10.
William Schwindenhammer 11th, Mike Davenport 12th, Logan York 13th, Dustin Carruthers in 14th, and Stephen Harper in 15th. Jason Maines 16th, Asher Miller 17th, Matthew Baker 18th, Tucker McClendon 19th, and from the lead to 20th for Garrett Maines, he rounds out the top 20 tonight.
Jared Haynes, who I apologize earlier, thought that he was not in this race. Just saw the wrong number a couple times, but nonetheless, he finishes 21st. John Ward 22nd, Mark Vondell 23rd, Trevor Osnoth in 24th, Christopher McCullough in 25th. Daniel Eberhardt back in 26th, David Sheets 27th, and then Jimmy Emos rounding out the field tonight as he finishes in 28th. Rounding out the field is actually John Mullahan, who finishes in 29th. All right, we're going to go get your top 3 for interviews, but just before we do that here, let's go back and pull up checkered flag moment and the big wreck that ensued behind here and watch Garrett Maines here. I'm going to back this up actually probably all the way to just about the white flag is. I think that's kind of let's see, let's back this up even further. So remember, the last couple laps here, guys are pushing for all they're worth. And if you go back here, Navarro had been stuck to the back bumper of Garrett Maines for about a lap and a half here, or almost a lap at this point. And we go out of turn 2. This was with 2 to go. Look at this. He gets locked on to Garrett. He's still locked on through 3 and 4. Gets a little bit of a breather here. And then off of 4, he's going to get back locked on. And he's just pushing him here, and he's doing a great job, but he's continuing to stay locked on, stays locked on. And at this point, as a driver, you know the 44 is getting hot on temps. He's been in the pack for a while, and he's been tandemed up for, again, almost a lap. So at this point, Navarro gets clear. He knows he's got to take it, first of all, because he needs temps, but more importantly, it's to win the race. Garrett makes the block, and the block itself, first of all, again, I don't know how he made it work. Somehow, though, he did. It was a phenomenal move to hold off Navarro. In fact, let's see if we can go back here to TV2 and show you this from the onlooking angle here. As watch, Navarro jumps down and Garrett somehow covers it. But the problem with that is that I think Navarro was really out of temps at this point. So by Brock Westmoreland jumping to the middle, I mean, it's an oven down there for the 44. And, he wants to push Garrett, but he's got to keep his own race somewhat intact. And as they go down the back here, the outside's going to start to surge. And Navarro was ducking out there. I think he was just looking for temps, Dawson. I got to be honest, as eventually there's a checkup, and then that allows the top 2 lanes to roll. They get clear, and now it's just a mad scramble. The momentum's all broken up, and it's just Matt Lee getting the right pushes as they wreck out back. There's Garrett getting collected. Navarro sneaks around as, man, the 12 of Jason Maines got up and rode along the outside safer barrier there. Came back down and still made it to the finish. But from my perspective, though, Dawson, I mean, in conclusion, I think that Navarro ran out of temps, really.
That's what it looked like to me as well, and then chaos ensues from there. Man, you're right, Jason Maines. What a ride for the 12 car. I didn't even catch that until I went and watched it back. A big wreck out behind the leaders, and it collected Garrett Maines, notably, again, like I said, 1st to 20th. That is not what he needed.
And then here's that move one more time for Devin Ray. I think at least with these Xfinity cars, the general rule of thumb's probably something along the lines of as soon as you get in the tribal, you got to make the move. And Devin Ray, he waited till they probably got about halfway through, maybe a little bit later than that. And, I think if Justin Mills goes with him, Dawson, I think he actually gets the win. And so maybe to a degree, he didn't necessarily time the move up wrong, but Mills chooses to stay low, and Devin Ray just not nearly enough push with the amount of racetrack that he had left. And just like that, Matt Lee gets the win. All right, now we're going to go find your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. Back live at Talladega Superspeedway. Going to start tonight with your 3rd place finisher, Justin Mills. Dawson Wise stands by with him.
Yeah, hey, Justin, it's the boys in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, you got to take me through that last run. You guys came out of nowhere. I saw you guys jump out. I just didn't think you had enough time, and all of a sudden, going down the backstretch, you pushed Matt Lee all the way to the win. You guys survived the chaos. You come out third. Take me through that last run to the end.
I mean, we were all in Discord together. So I mean, me, him, and Ward, we kind of planned it out once we caught Matt there that we were going to go 3 and go 4 if necessary. So that's what we done.
Well, it works out for you. A third place finish, certainly what the doctor ordered for you here tonight. And look, to survive a race like that, pit stops, wrecks, everything in between. Kind of take me through what this does for you as a driver. You're finally back on the podium here on Tuesday Night Thunder.
Yeah. Truth be told, I didn't really have a good pit stop. The last one, I was really dead in the water until that caution come out, to be honest with you. But it worked out in my favor. Got a little luck on my side. That's always a good thing.
Well, absolutely. Sometimes better to be lucky than good, as the saying goes. Tonight you finished in third, so before we let you go and celebrate just a little bit, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Just y'all guys at the broadcast, man. Appreciate y'all.
Well, we appreciate you for talking to us. Congrats on the third place finish. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, and now that will lead us to your second place finisher here tonight. Well, it was going to be Devin Ray. However, due to some complications, the way he joined Discord, not able to join a voice channel. So instead, we're going to get his teammate, Trevor Osvernoff, Dawson Wise, with him as well.
Yeah, hey, Devin/Trevor, it's the boys in the booth. You get a copy.
Yeah, it's Dev Trev. How you doing?
Well, it's going well. This is going to be the weirdest interview I ever do, interviewing the guy that finished, let me note it real quick for the broadcast, 24th. But nonetheless, no, all joking aside, look, you guys had a pretty rough run as a team. Devin's able to salvage a second-place finish. A crazy race tonight. Take me through the night from your perspective and from a team perspective.
The night, it was a lot of carrying of Devin. This was supposed to carry me through the race because I'm racing for points and they're not. And we just so happened to carry that joker as we do every single race. And he just so happened to get second out of that. So I don't know, man. It was a pretty good race. It was tight for a while. This is gotta say by far the best super speedway series there is right now, racing wise, that you can watch and have a good time. So me as Devin now, damn, that Trevor cat does a great job helping him every single place we go. And I just got to say that KSR and the Jack Shack, they're the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And I just hope that forever in the future that those boys will hold me down as well as they did today.
Wow, really positive words there for you, Devin, for your teammates. Anyway, switching over to you now, Trev. Obviously, you said you're racing for points. I do want to ask you real quick, since we do have you up here, not the run you were hoping for tonight, I'm sure, as you're close to that playoff cut line. One race to go next week. What's the game plan going into a really a race where you need a good run?
I need to win. That's plain and simple. I need to win. I really did it in for myself, speeding off of pit road. Ran 55, 59, and a 55. That's not even a speeding ticket in the real world, but I'll take it. I got to win, and I got to come in here somehow or another. I probably got to win the stage or get some stage points and go out there and win it. That's all I can really say. I got to win. I don't know what else I can do. I can't finish second and hope for the best. So, and the way that it's been looking, I've been smacked off the track, wrecked for the lead, somehow or another. Something's going to happen. Something's got to pay off. I need an RMR race win. That's one off my bucket list I need to do. So next week, dude, balls to the wall. I'm going for it.
It makes the racing easy. It makes the mentality very easy when you put it like that. Just go and win the race. Before we let you go, on behalf of Devin, on behalf of you, and on behalf of all the KSR drivers tonight, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Hey man, I gotta thank the Jack Shack. It's always a good time in the Jack Shack. That should be a slogan. But gotta thank them, KSR, Kevin, Devin, all these D's, Devin, Dustin, Trevor, Kenny. I gotta thank you guys. Surprisingly, Austin and Dawson in the boot. That's rare. I haven't seen that in a while. Big Hick and Mean Green. That's what I'm gonna start calling you, Austin. Mean Green. All right, but any which way, I gotta thank you guys for putting it on. Yes, that's my clap. Gotta thank you guys for putting it on each and every week, man. The best racing, like I said, best broadcasting of all time. And Ron Morris, dude, this has got to be the hardest job to do, and you put it on. So thank everybody that's come out here. Thank everybody that's wrecked tonight and everybody that's finished the race tonight. And let's do it again next week, boys.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for talking to us, and best of luck in next week's race. You got a lot going on the line next week. Thanks for talking to us. We'll talk to you soon.
Y'all be safe.
All right, that was your second place finisher. We'll fill him in for your second place finisher, Trevor Osmanoff. Now we go to your winner here tonight, Matt Lee. Matt, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy.
Gotcha, guys.
Well, you bring home the win here tonight. Not necessarily one of your more dominant performances in terms of leading every lap, but you led the most important one. Tell us about kind of your breakdown through that last lap and how you found your way all the way to the front.
It started with a great push from Justin and John there. We got hooked up at the back of the field, and, we just rolled to the front. Breakdown of the race is really nothing mattered other than a win now that I'm locked into the playoffs, need playoff points, and whatever the heck the structure works out to be. So kind of went for it.
Certainly did go for it, and it paid off in a big way. Now that you've got that win, how does that shift the mindset here going into next week, the final race of the regular season?
Go win again. I mean, we got 2 wins now, and let's see what we can do here. Really isn't no other mindset than that.
All right. Well, before we let you head out here tonight to go celebrate, enjoy your winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Big shout out again to Ward and Justin there for that run there to the finish at the end. That was a ton of fun. Split Mark once there and got Brock to the lead and just, kept on going. Those guys gave a hell of a push. Martin Sports, anyone looking for sim racing gloves, jerseys, check them out, martinsports906.com. Premier Setup Shop. You guys for the broadcast. We're on foot on the race tonight. It was a lot of fun.
All right, and thank you, of course, for talking to us. Again, congrats on the win. You got yourself locked into the playoffs, so we will see you next week. See if you can get some more house money before it's time to go for the chase.
Yes, sir.
All right, that is going to wrap up our interviews here tonight, as that was your race winner, Matt Lee. But overall, Dawson, a great race. I mean, what was it, 1 caution besides the stage break caution? Again, a lot of clean racing. I think Trevor put it perfectly. He made sure to emphasize, he said it's the best money racing series right now in terms of racing, and that's certainly correct with how clean it's been the last couple weeks. So we'll see if we get more of that over the course of the next couple weeks. But before we wrap things up tonight, is there anything else that you'd like to add, Dawson?
Just another great race, and I completely agree with what Trev said. I mean, this has consistently been the best racing all season this season. I mean, this has been week after week of just high-intensity racing. There's always something to think about. There's green flag pit stops, and yet these guys still find a way to create these incredible finishes. It's been all season. I have no doubt it's going to continue on next week and then into the playoffs. Crunch time next week's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of points crunching, a lot of guys looking for wins, a lot of guys putting it all on the line next week. I can't wait. These are my favorite types of races. I can't wait to see what we get next week.
All right, well, that will wrap it up tonight for me, Austin Green, and Dawson Wise here on PGR eSports. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, we hope you enjoyed. We'll be back next Tuesday for the regular season finale. Until then, have a good night.